Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live stream. Although, if you're catching that part of it that I just said, you're probably watching it when it's archived, because when people get the notification that this is going live, the first few seconds are taken up with ads that they're probably skipping, which is fine. Just fine. I love it when you do watch the ads, or even better yet, click on them. But I understand it's no big deal. Just gonna have some wine tonight with my drawing. Look at me taking a risk, pouring it right over the drawing. I'm going to have a lot of wine. So, let's see. Hello to Josie. Hello, Mandela. Hello, Sebastian. Cheers to you all. Hello, let me be honest. I just had dinner. My fiance cooked us a nice dinner, and I'm finishing with a glass of wine. It's having a red wine now and then is something that's supposedly, like, good for your heart, good for your relaxation and stuff like that. So I've always loved wine, and red wine in particular, and even more particular, Cabernet Sauvignon is my favorite. So every once in a while I like to have some wine. Let's say hello from Scotland. Hello, James Stewart. Hello from Ohio. Hello, Ohio. Hello from the United States. Sebastian's here, and Zyke, and Ren. It's great to see so many recurring names. I've roughed out a sketch here. I had some time earlier today. Today was a day off. And I'm going to attempt to do something cool. That's always the goal, right? I've got what I'm doing is a horde of zombie Nazis running through the snow, and I've got an idea of how I want this to look. We'll see if I can match in my head what I see once I commit it to paper. I don't know if anyone out there has seen the movies Dead Snow or Dead Snow 2. They're decent. Oh, thanks for rewatching the Super Pro episode, James. I appreciate that. Let's see. Hello to Clay and Jojo. Sebastian's from Peru. Wow. That's really amazing. You know what? I'm going to just temporarily switch pens. No, I'm not. I'm going to actually use this one. Haha, I was kidding. What I'm going to do is outline just some of the bigger elements that are like in the forefront, and then we'll eventually move on to the finer details. Was it in an Uncharted game? It might have been. Stinch is there. Let's see. Yeah. Yeet. What are you gonna throw? There. So, how's everybody doing? For most of y'all, Friday's obviously a nice day. Me, I'm about to head into work tomorrow, and that's like one of my busiest days. Like, that's one of the days where I can make the most money, is working on Saturdays and Sundays. Good point, Ken. Pterodactyl asks how my day's been. Pretty good. Nothing fancy. It was a day off work. I've been very busy working on all sorts of comic trope stuff, to be honest. Editing a video for my patrons, writing the next episode of the show that you'll all see. It's Saturday morning in Norway. Are you in Norway right now, Stinch? Because that's an interesting coincidence as I'm drawing this, because as long as my memory serves me correctly, this movie is set in Norway. Just drawing some trees here that I'm putting 100% in shadow. Oh, cool. I'd love to visit Norway or really any of the Scandinavian countries. My grandmother was from Sweden, so I'd love to be able to visit there sometime. It's important to me, and I just love traveling in general, so yeah. My sister's camping, so I got to play with her guinea pigs. That sounds like fun, Josie. That sounds fun to just get to take care of them a little bit. Beowulf says, wish I could watch the whole stream, but I'm dancing with my boyfriend. Someone pressure Chris to do a Hellblazer episode. Noted. Noted that that's something that you'd like. Definitely something I've considered several times, and I'm sure I will discuss Hellblazer at some point in time. A lot of different writers have created some good stories there. Obviously an important character, John Constantine. So far, I think I've probably only mentioned John Constantine in my Swamp Thing review, so I probably haven't gone into any real depth on that character, but definitely an interesting one. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Beta Ray Bingus. What is the episode, or is it secret? I try not to necessarily give that away until we're there, but all I can say is it's horror themed. All the episodes this month are horror themed. I'm trying to make a comic, and I was wondering if I could tell you the basic story and if you could give any advice. Possibly. I wouldn't say that like this live stream is the best outlet for it. I'm obviously pretty occupied with both trying to draw and answer questions, but you know, if you put something on like Twitter, I can do my best to take a look. I just can't make any promises, and that's just because of how busy I am. Constantine with Keanu is a super underrated movie. I totally agree with you, Beta Ray Bingus. I don't think that like Keanu quite portrayed Constantine as I've envisioned him and read him in the comics, but it was a very, very good movie, and it was definitely a Constantine or Hellblazer story. So I like that movie quite a bit. It's pretty cool. Who's my favorite superhero team? Probably the X-Men. Yes, I've considered making an episode about Mouse. Very important comic. Probably what I'd do instead, to be honest, is talk more about Art Spiegelman, and I'd discuss a bit about Mouse. But a lot has been said about Mouse, so, you know, doing just like a review of that comic, I don't think I'd necessarily be adding that much. But discussing why he did Mouse and what techniques he utilized to create that story, as well as putting that within the context of other things that Art Spiegelman has done, that interests me. So that's something I could see myself doing at some point in the near future. So I'd discuss it, but I might not go super, super in-depth on Mouse, unless I can think of some angle that hasn't been covered yet in other reviews. I just don't want to be like too repetitive. Yeah. Hello, Jalopy Joe. Hello, Nono. Hello, Sheldon. Anybody check out the Breaking Bad movie yet? I hope to do it tonight if I've got time. I definitely will see it. I mean, Breaking Bad is quite possibly my all-time favorite TV show, just because it was so rock solid from beginning to end. Just one of the best overall TV shows ever made, in my opinion. Bryan Cranston really was something on that show. No spoilers from me, and hopefully nobody else would do anything like that. Looks like we got a bear in the woods. Not quite a bear. I'm drawing a bunch of Nazi zombies from the movie Dead Snow. Yeah. So bear with me, and hopefully over time, this will start to coalesce into something that looks more like snow. Something set in the snow. Better than Married with Children? just a little, but I did like Married with Children. That does make me laugh. I love Better Call Saul, but I don't have cable right now, so I'm behind like at least one, maybe two seasons. What villain would I like to see join the Suicide Squad? Are you talking comics or movies? If movies, then I think that Bronze Tiger should be in there. For comics? I don't know. They've kind of used all the ones I'd think like would work well in it. But just for the heck of it, let's see if they could get Darkseid in there. Darkseid on the Suicide Squad. That's a challenge for writers. Think of a way that would make sense. That it would not just be fun, but like that it would actually make sense. It probably can't, but I like trying to think of outside ideas. Austin says, I made my own Inktober prompt. Comic artists and animators. Okay, well that sounds like fun. Any opinion on the Joker movie? I think I discussed this pretty in depth in a previous live stream. I didn't care for it too much. I just felt like it was too derivative of other, sort of 1970s, 1980s Scorsese films. In which case, I don't know, it didn't feel very necessary. I didn't mind that it was a new take on the Joker. I'm not against that idea. But I didn't think it was a very original movie. That's all. So I didn't enjoy it too much because I felt like it was also very predictable. Very predictable because you don't even know, in a normal movie you're like, well, maybe this guy will sort of find some measure of happiness, or he'll retain his sanity by reaching out to somebody. But this is the Joker. You know that he's going to lose it. So Scorsese is old. Scorsese's still putting out great movies. I can't wait to see The Irishman. I mean, great filmmaker is a great filmmaker. And I would say that his movies hold up and are still, I mean, if you're going to say that the Joker is relevant, then you have to say that those Scorsese movies like King of Comedy and Taxi Driver are relevant. You can't have it both ways, in my opinion. I don't know why people wouldn't want to watch a good movie, even if it's old. Whoa, Philip, thank you so much. A generous super chat. That's so nice of you. I really, really sincerely appreciate that. So, cheers. Amulet, huh? I have not read Amulet, so I'll have to see what that is. Oh, that's cool to hear, Jalopy. I'm glad to hear that El Camino was good in your opinion. I have a lot of faith in Vince Gilligan, so I'm pretty sure that I will like it. Yeah. He has a very deliberate style, Vince Gilligan does. I like that he will take time, at least he did in many, many episodes of both Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, to just show the process of how something gets done, like a job, or it could be as mundane as maybe brewing coffee type thing. He just has a very deliberate style, and he forces you to go along with his pacing. He's not going to be rushed, and I really admire that. Sticky says he's on Frail. Yeah, Frail was good. Favorite Scorsese movie? Oh. That is a good question. The one that seems to resonate with me the most might be Casino. But, I don't know, man. Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. What was that one that he just made, like, I guess maybe 2 years ago now? It was about, like, Jesuit priests in Japan, and that was an intense movie. That was really fascinating. I forget the name of it. The Apostle? No, that's something else. It's not coming to me right now. Let's see. Glad to see you're doing this daily. Really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. And also, the slow pacing of Breaking Bad is why my girlfriend can't stand it. I admire it. You have to pay attention. You have to put down your devices, focus on it, and if you invest, I think it rewards you tremendously. With rich, believable characterization, amazing twists and turns, just like some really clever storytelling, cinematography. It like really gave some directors a lot of room to experiment. Anyway, there's a lot of reasons I like it. Mean Streets, Silence was a fascinating movie. This is Nazi zombies. Yes. That sounded a little bit like Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Yes. Oh. Ha. Ah. Oh. Mm-hmm. Well. That's my Jeff Goldblum. Just lots of little ticks. Aha. Yes. Oh. Jeff Goldblum is a treasure. He's just gotten better and better as he gets older. Departed was a classic. I absolutely love The Departed. That said, I had seen all the Infernal Affairs movies years ago that it was based on, so little less of sort of like a surprise. It felt a little less original, but I love that he set it in Boston. That's where I grew up. It was a really interesting adaptation. It was a really interesting adaptation. But I also think that like Scorsese in New York is where it's at. He gets New York. Infernal Affairs was great. Haven't watched the sequels though. The sequels are okay, but the original is the best. That was a nice discovery. That was a time when I wasn't like, there weren't like lots of movie reviews online when that one was coming out, and I was just living and working in Boston, and I would go to Chinatown and just take a chance on like, the imports from Hong Kong and Japan, and sometimes found some real gems. It was a really nice time, like, to find things. Like, that was where I discovered Shaolin Soccer was a good discovery. Battle Royale was a good discovery. The Ringu or The Ring was a good discovery. Say Francis Ford Coppola is better than Scorsese? Maybe, but Scorsese is certainly more prolific, and that actually does count for something in my book. It's been a long time since we've seen a movie from Coppola, but I do love Apocalypse Now. That's great. Oh, that's an interesting idea, Ken. Like, Darkseid isn't really technically part of the team so much as he's just influencing them or something. Yeah, well, there you go. There's a good interpretation of how you could include Darkseid into the Suicide Squad. Very clever. I like that. That's thinking outside the box. Instead of Waller just recruiting him, which doesn't really make sense. Hello, Rishi. All right, see ya, Beta Ray. Thanks for jumping in. Charlie says, DC should invest more on the character of the Jockster. I think he has potential. Don't know that one. When Disney buys Warner's, Galactus will be in the Suicide Squad. Maybe. We should be so lucky. Galen Tan, Galactus. The last survivor of the previous universe. Devourer of Worlds. Great character. Great character. Kirby and Stan Lee at their height in terms of working with each other collaboratively. Francis Ford Coppola may not have made a movie in a bit, but at least Nicolas Cage and Sofia Coppola have been active for the family. Good point. Good point. Sofia Coppola is definitely a bit underrated. She's created some really fantastic work. I'll always love Lost in Translation. That was something special. Then again, she was pretty bad when she was acting in Godfather Part 3. So, Godfather Part 3 might lower Coppola a bit, right? Jockster is Earth 3's hero version of the Joker. Oh, okay. See you, Stinch. Thanks for coming in, especially since it was so late for you. Appreciate it. Poor Nicolas Cage, he can't say no to any movie role. Well, it's all like because of his finances. He just got married one too many times and has a lot of alimony, so yeah, he takes just about anything. But we gotta love him for his love of comics, if nothing else, you know? That guy's he named himself after Luke Cage. I mean, that's awesome. His real name is Coppola, and he didn't want to rest on his family's name, so he named himself after a superhero he really liked. I admire that a lot. That's pretty awesome. Not just naming yourself off after a comic book character, but intentionally going, no, I'm going to make it on my own merits. That's really rad. That's really rad. And he's been in some good movies. Mandy. I loved Mandy. Mandy was awesome. And, you know, stuff like, what am I thinking of? Leaving Las Vegas or something? I mean, yeah, he's a good actor when he wants to be. And when he's got the right material and when he's got the right director. Otherwise, he'll go broad. But sometimes going broad is fun. Like, you know, he has, he's so out of control in, Face Off, but that's what makes it fun. Raising Arizona, he's hilarious. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Nicolas Cage. Wicker Man, yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you know, if a director doesn't rein him in, he'll go cuckoo, and that does not help the movie. But the original Wicker Man, by the way, is really cool movie. It's I find that like a really disturbing movie, even though it doesn't really show any significant violence on screen. I find it very disturbing. Cage is a vampire, yeah. No, Nick Cage is not Francis Ford Coppola's son. He's his nephew. The Community episode with Abed going crazy because of Cage. Yep. I like Community quite a bit. Minus season 4. Big Dan Harmon fan. I've always heard that Nicolas Cage named himself after Luke Cage, but I mean, it's possible that there's more than one person he named himself after. He's definitely a big comic book fan. He's at multiple times owned very large comic book collections. Yeah, Weird War Tales is a great title. Featured some fantastic artists like Russ Heath, I think some Joe Kubert, like definitely a good book. Cage was going to be Superman. Pretty famous. Yeah, he named his son Kal-El. Nick Cage would have been too young to be in Apocalypse Now. He wouldn't have been the right age for Martin Sheen's character. Or even close, really. Let's see, Spaceman says, I'm working on my own comic book at the moment, and after the first issue is completed, I'm going to submit it to a publisher. Oh, well, good luck with that. That sounds great. A favorite film noir? I probably do have a favorite, but not something I've thought about in a minute. Would we count Casablanca as film noir? I think I would because of the film techniques used there, and if so, I think I might choose Casablanca. Sounds like water running. Yeah, I have a like sort of a water bowl with constantly running water, not too far away from me for my cats. I didn't know that you could hear that. That's amazing. That the I guess that just goes to show that I've at least got a good microphone here. Wine. That's my favorite DreamWorks movie. I'd be hard-pressed to remember which studio produces what. Sorry. Fave exploitation movie. Oh, wow. Ooh, that is a fun but challenging question. What would be my favorite? I'll have to give it some thought. Sorry, nothing's popping out like easily to mind. I like the question, but just nothing's coming to me. Would 7 count as noir? I don't think I'd quite call it noir. There's a certain aesthetic, but it's close. It really would. You could make the argument. You could definitely make the argument. It must be good. The wine sounds like alcohol. The wine is alcohol. How to Train Your Dragon. That's your favorite DreamWorks movie? Who do you think could play Moon Knight? Ben Affleck. Probably Ben Affleck would be the best choice. Fincher's look to his films is at least close to noir. I would agree with that. I would. Is Toy Story DreamWorks? No, Toy Story is Pixar. Shrek is one of my favorites next to Prince of Egypt. Alright, that's fair. I don't really care for either of those too much. So I'm sure that there's a good movie, like DreamWorks movie that I like, but yeah, nothing's jumping to mind. All I can think of is those Shrek movies, and I'm not a big fan of Shrek. It's fine. It's I'm not against it. It's not for me. I don't find it that funny. Let's see, they said they were looking for a Jewish Zac Efron type to play Moon Knight, and a lot of commenters were like, why not just cast Zac Efron? Zac Efron might not be a bad choice. That guy's not a bad actor, and certainly physically he could pull off something like Moon Knight. That's not bad at all. It's a good point. Moon Knight is canonically Jewish, so that would certainly be helpful to cast a Jewish actor. Is Zac Efron Jewish? I guess I don't know. Let me look. Okay, so he was born Jewish. He's not practicing, but he's culturally Jewish. So yeah, that would be a good casting decision. If he wants it, I bet it's his. But who knows? He may just sort of be like, "Oh, I only want to do movies, not TV." It's hard to say. Marvel might be willing to roll up a Brinks truck into his backyard to convince him. The Croods. Yeah. Megamind. Eh. Oh, wait a minute. You know what I kind of liked? What was it? That first Despicable Me I kind of did enjoy. I will say that. Yeah, I agree, Beta Ray. I'll hop into the chat in just a second, just focusing on some details. Despicable Me was Illumination, not DreamWorks. Oh, okay. I thought DreamWorks distributed it. Whoops. Oh, well. Almost got there. I would argue that there's some real Nazis today, Austin. Say that there's not any real ones since 1945. I'd say that they're still around. But that's me. That's hyperbole. No, if they identify as a Nazi, then I count them as a Nazi. There's lots of people that identify that way, so I say you have to believe people when they say things. This is a real soothing environment. It should be, ideally. I've got like water flowing. I'm having a nice glass of wine. I'm just drawing, even if it's violent. You know, it's kind of soothing to just draw and chat with people in the chat room. It should be a soothing environment. So ideally, it should be. mm. Damn, you know what? Like, this is only a $10 bottle of wine, so I was really worried that it wasn't going to be too good, but I kind of like it. The collection. Never had it before. Took a chance. I'm enjoying it. That's all I can say. Anybody else out there a bit of a wine connoisseur or enjoy a glass? It's okay if not. I'm just curious. Fantastic Four casting. I'm thinking Adam Pally as Ben Grimm. He is funny, but I'd sort of think Adam Pally almost would be more of a Human Torch. I think you need somebody fairly gruff for Ben Grimm, but maybe. Where would you recommend I start with She-Hulk? Personally, if I was going to do a recommendation, it would be the Dan Slott run. Look for Dan Slott. Quite like it. Alright, CinemaCon says can't get into red wine, sometimes white. Care Bear says can't stand the taste of any alcohol. Seed Hill says more of a rum drinker. Fair enough. When I draw, I play smooth jazz in the background. Wow. I used to mix scotch, rum, and wine. Wow. That sounds intense. Hey, kitty. Cats are talking to me. Meow. What's your favorite letter? C for Chris. Alyssa Milano as Ben Grimm. Sold. What's the best MCU movie? My personal favorite, the one I think is best, Captain America: Winter Soldier. I thought that one was pretty excellent. I haven't seen too many of the DC animated universe movies. Only like 2 or 3 to be honest. So I don't really have an easy favorite there. But I think I'd have to say, I saw the Wonder Woman movie, the first one. That one was really cool. Yeah, I remember She-Thing. It was she was on the Fantastic Four. That was one person who'd used the Ms. Marvel name. Sharon Ventura just came to me. Opinions on Flashpoint. Flashpoint was fine. It was kind of cool. No strong opinions, you know. It was good. Not great. Definitely shook things up. I would say that's the best thing I can say about it, is that I didn't know when it was coming out that it was designed to shake things up to the extent that it did. So that was a little bit of a pleasant surprise. Hey kitty, I'm right here. The Flashpoint movie was better than the event? I didn't know there was a Flashpoint movie. What, like an animated movie, you mean? Oh, there's an animated one. I didn't see that. I don't tend to... I don't know. I haven't seen many of the animated movies. I had a former manager at one of my jobs that liked the animated DC movies quite a bit. I appreciated it. He would tell me some of the things about like which ones were good and why. And that was interesting to hear since I like comics, but that was something that like is a little bit of a blind spot for me because I haven't seen many. The Mask of the Phantasm was the best Batman film. Well, that one I did see. I saw that one in the theater. I liked that one quite a bit. Hi. What would you like? My cat's talking. I don't know what she wants. You want to come over here? Come here. Give me 1 minute. I need to check on my cat. Hi. Hi. For those who haven't met her, this is Chibi, and Chibi's just getting up there in years, so I think that she might be in sort of a pain and just sort of enjoy being held and getting attention. So sometimes I just have to drop what I'm doing and do that. The cat wants some wine. Would you like some wine? Would that make you feel better? Would you like some wine? Meow meow. She wants you to gain a taste for free-form jazz. Maybe you do. Do you like jazz? I don't know. She just likes attention. And I like that. She can still move when she wants, but like she used to jump up in my lap all the time, and I think like now she just sort of wants me to pick her up instead. So sorry that I'm taking a break here, everyone. I'm sure that that's not the most exciting thing, but this is a sweet little girl that needs attention, and that's important to me. She's been my friend since she was just a little baby kitten. I adopted her when she was just the tiniest little baby, and she's been with me for 15 years. So I'm a big fan of cats. I wonder if the MCU will ever get my favorite Marvel character, Artie Maddox. Maybe. You want to get down? Alright. See ya. Cats can never predict exactly what they want. All of a sudden, she's just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done. Batman versus the TMNT. I didn't see that one. That one did look like fun. Was it good? I'd love to get some time to see that one. Just realized my sister didn't jump in tonight. She must have work tomorrow or something. It's been fun having her jump into the chat room. I think I'm done with the MCU after Endgame. I'm not very excited for the direction they're taking things. Oh, I'm still totally in. I'm in. I'm enjoying myself. You gotta understand, like, I grew up in an era where, like, the most sci-fi we could hope for was, like, when the $6 Million Man fought Bigfoot, you know? And we were just like, yeah, I guess I'll just take what I can get. And these days, like, you know, I'm spoiled. Like, there's so many comic books that get adapted and anime and etc. And I'm enjoying it while it's here, because I'm sure it'll go away at some point. Wyatt Wingfoot or bust. There you go. Your sister said Q? I don't know what that means. Superhero movies are sort of suffocating things, but all I can say is, you know, that's always been Hollywood. They go with what's hot for as long as they can, and we're just all along for the ride. But I'm okay with it as long as the movies are good, and I would say that overall, the movies are quite good. So I'm okay with it for now. I'm not personally burned out, but I understand how, like, mainstream audiences could be. I'm a big fan of a lot of these characters, so it's really fun to get to see them interpreted in sort of new ways. It's a treat. Not discounting your opinion, just saying that I'm currently enjoying it. When was the last Gladiator or Braveheart? That would have been Gladiator, which came after Braveheart. That was her favorite letter. Oh, so she was in here for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I think that... Well, I don't think... No, Martin Scorsese did not say that he hates comic book movies. He said that they're not for him. And when he said that they're not cinema, I think he's talking about, like, you know, what you can do with cinema, and I kind of agree with him. Like, I would say that, like, in general, most superhero movies are, you know, popcorn entertainment. They're well done. They give things for the actors and directors to do, but are they as deep and resonant as a typical sort of drama? No, not yet. For superhero movies, not for comic book movies, for superhero movies. And some of them have been quite good, and I love them. But I understand where Scorsese's coming from. I don't fault him for that. Next, you should draw Darth Vader in the Bacta tank. Oh yeah? Logan, Dark Knight trilogy. Very good movies. Totally agree. At the same time, they're pretty fantastical, and I'm not sure, like, you know, what we can, like, really get out of them that, like, resonates with our day-to-day lives. We can go along with the characters and recognize their emotions, but it doesn't really analyze some aspect of, like, you know, society in a way that we can, like, say, like, oh yeah, that's what's going on today. I don't know. They're not bad. I get it. I liked Logan's final act. I liked it quite a bit. Logan was good. Yeah, I'd agree with JoJo's opinion. That's a pretty solid interpretation. It's superhero movies, even when they're not predictable, they're still predictable. The good guy is gonna win. You know, it's wish fulfillment, power fantasies type stuff, Um, I don't know. I that's fine. That's still entertainment, but it doesn't mean that it's deep. What? My subscriptions? They're all disappearing. What did I say? What did I do? My subscriptions. I'm just kidding around. Does that lay more in the fault with comics themselves or how they're adapted? I would say that superheroes have limitations. Superheroes are more an adolescent power fantasy than anything else. That does not make them bad. That isn't it, but it is what they are. You know. Ultimately, it's all about people getting, almost godlike power and getting to use it how they see fit. And you can do a lot of different things with it, but you are limited in what you can do because it's not real life. It's not. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I'm not throwing superheroes under the bus, but I do think that there are limitations. There's not limitations to comics. That's why I enjoy, comics that are horror, sci-fi, crime, whatever, what have you. There's so many different things you can do with comic books. Comic books are not limited to just superheroes. I have a great deal of affection for superheroes. I think superheroes are fun and pretty versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with them. But I do think that there are limitations there. I would say the same thing about, are there limitations with crime stories or comedies? Absolutely. It's superheroes are a type of genre. Am I bored of superhero comics? I'm not. Some of them can still surprise me. I personally have really been enjoying things like Batman Curse of the White Knight, Immortal Hulk, House of X, Powers of 10. So, to me, that's different enough and unique enough and exciting enough that I'm absolutely still having fun with them. Persepolis is good. How dare you have an opinion when asked for it? Thank you, compared. That's a great way of putting it. History of Violence was really good. Absolutely. There's lots of comic book movies that are not based on superhero comics. So you said you were excited about the direction of MCU. What are you specifically excited about? I'm excited for some of these Marvel Studios TV shows. I want to see the Hawkeye and Moon Knight TV shows. I want to see a She-Hulk TV shows, and the fact that they're like sort of tying into the movies. I want to see what they do with like a horror-tinged movie based on Doctor Strange. I'm sure it won't be that scary. It'll probably still be PG-13, but that's okay. There's I want to see more Black Panther and Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, there's lots of stuff coming up that I'm looking forward to. That's all I can say. Let's see. AWSM57 says, there's a line in Flex Mentallo that really stuck with me. Only a bitter adolescent boy could confuse pessimism with realism. And that's why I'm not a fan of edgy, mature comics. Uh, yeah, that's fair, but I still think you can do, like, mature. Hey, Aldi, welcome. Guess I need to move right over here more for you to see me. Nice to see so many people agreeing on different things. That's nice, guys. I mean, we can have differing opinions and still get along. What we all share is that we love the medium of comics, and there's a lot to connect us there. Sometimes I love like just the idea of something like music. I feel like that connects us. Like nobody dislikes music. You know what I mean? And you can get like some really good connection with any art, paintings, food, comics. What's the difference between a Nazi zombie and a regular zombie? The Nazi zombies are still Nazis. If Will Smith goes in the past, he was Smith? Pretty good. They should do a Spawn reboot. I believe that there are plans to do a Spawn movie reboot, so... I mean, there definitely are plans. We'll just see if it comes together. I think that there's a great chance it will. Have you read Flex Mentallo? I have not. I know who the character is, but I haven't read that comic. Sorry. Which is better, Punisher or Punisher Warzone? I'll give the slight edge to Punisher Warzone just because it definitely knew what it was and was a little more hardcore. It was pulpier, but in general, I like Punisher Warzone. I thought that was a pretty cool, badass take on the character. So at this point, I'm just let me think, I'm something like 6 weeks away from my next trip to Japan. Trying to think of like some of the special things I could do for the channel over there. I'll get some more Gachapon. And I'll try to make some short videos at like, you know, their sort of comic book stores and stuff like that. See where that goes. And then I have plans to do a pretty big episode over there. but I'm open to other ideas. Do an episode about Donjushi. Yeah, fan comics. Maybe I will. How do you feel about Harmontown coming to an end? Depressed. I love that podcast. It's my first listen as far as like weekly podcasts go, and it definitely sort of breaks my heart that Dan is ending it. I've enjoyed it since the beginning. I've gone to see it in person a few times, and yeah, it's a bummer that it's ending. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it a lot. I've always felt like I get a regular amount of Dan Harmon. You know, like it used to be that he would make shows regularly on Channel 101. Before that, it was like, you know, comics and stuff. And then these days, it's been his weekly podcast. And all of a sudden, I'm not going to have that sort of insight into his mind. And it definitely makes me sad. It makes me very sad. But I'm a fan. I like his writing philosophy quite a bit, and he makes me laugh. So I'm a big Dan Harmon fan. Big. Japanese Spider-Man was awesome. I agree, James. I crave a sequel to your Sonic video. I tried to understand Sonic and utterly failed, and I don't really have a lot of interest in going back. Will you try some of those crazy vending machines in Japan that cook you soup or dispense porn mags? Maybe. Yeah, if I see any interesting vending machines, I might stop at them. That said, while I've seen soup, I have not seen any that dispense porn mags. And I've been there several times. When I was younger and went there in the 90s, I do remember one that sold panties. But that's about it. But they have a lot of vending machines over there, man. They love their vending machines. Mostly it's just you can always find a drink machine somewhere. But now that I've like given up like soda and caffeine and juice, like I don't have a lot of use for them. So I won't take full advantage of them this coming trip. Could you do an episode on weird DeviantArt comics? Do people post full comics to DeviantArt? I'll be honest, I never explore DeviantArt. I don't know how to navigate it, like, to find the good stuff. I just see weird stuff, and I'm just, like, not too interested. But I also didn't realize that people posted full comics that they created to DeviantArt. Did you experience bullet trains on your last trip? Not my last trip to Japan, but I have been on the bullet train. It's pretty amazing. Comfortable, fast, efficient. It's awesome. Isn't wine juice with alcohol? Sort of. It generally doesn't have as many calories or sugar as juice. Still has some. I'm making a calorie choice here. I don't know what to say. I've been incredibly depressed lately, and I just needed something to relieve some of the tension. So wine it was. Wine is better than a lot of other alternatives. I should do an episode on Sonichu. I've considered it, but I also feel like if I did, all I'd be doing is insulting Chris Chan, and I don't know if I really feel like that adds anything. Like that dude has put himself out there in a way no one else I can think of has. but it is a pretty funny comic. But personally, I think I'd feel a little bad. I find Chris Chan entertaining. Let me just put that out there. So maybe this makes me a hypocrite, but I'd feel a little bad sort of making fun of the comic because I don't think it's necessarily a good comic. But it doesn't need to be, and I don't know what's to be gained by me sort of picking it apart. Whereas if a professional has put out a comic and it's not good, I think that's a little more fair to say hey, this is what they did wrong. Or at least even self-published it on a large scale for everyone to see. He hasn't really done that. Not intentionally, anyway. Everything okay, Chris? I know you're worried about the channel. Yeah, the channel isn't my biggest concern. I'm just overrun. You're not much on the insults in reviews. No, I'll review stuff that I don't think is good, and I'll try to have some fun with it. But I don't want to I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I don't know what's to be gained by that. I guess I love stand-up comedy, right? But I don't like when, in general, sometimes there's exceptions in all forms of comedy, but I don't like punching down. If somebody's at a lower status and you're making fun of them, I don't think that's fair. I think that's and I have, a reasonable sized platform right now. And if I was sort of making fun of, a guy who is admittedly on the spectrum, I don't know that's fair. That's punching down to me. I like insult comedy. No, insult comedy's fine. I thought that all of a sudden I'm forgetting the comedian's name, but the guy that was Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story movies, he was in Casino. Somebody help me out here. He was friends with Bob Hope, older guy. I find insult comedy funny. I totally do. But I don't like when you're punching down on Don Rickles. Thank you, Jojo. Don Rickles, hilarious. Insult comedy. He's great at it. An insult is fine. A comedian managing the crowd and poking fun at them, that's fine. What I'm saying is say there's a marginalized group. If I went up and started just making jokes about black people or gay people or something like that, and I'm a straight white guy, that I don't think that's hilarious. I don't think that's fair. So yeah, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog is great. You could argue, okay, he's on TV, so if he's making fun of Star Wars nerds, that's punching down. It's not quite what I mean, though. It's not quite what I mean. I guess I just mean that if you're sort of making fun of somebody on a lower status rung, and they don't have the full ability to fight back or anything like that, that's different. You can make fun of anybody that's in the public, any celebrity, any politician. That's fine. That's all fair game. That's all fair game. I think it's funny to punch up, to punch sideways, and to punch yourself in the face. Those are all funny things. If I'm acting cool and I fall down the stairs, I think that's in general funny. You'll see me do that kind of stuff in my opening skits. I'll just make fun of myself, essentially. I'll make fun of a comic book that was put out by professionals. But I don't really want to just make fun of somebody that's just if somebody was only putting their comic out on Twitter or their website or something like that. I don't want to make fun of that. I might review it and be honest, but I don't want to make fun of it. An episode on political cartoonists? Maybe. Who defines what punching down is, though? Yeah, well, there can be some gray area there, and that's fair, but I think that, in general, if you're, going after a marginalized group, that's not usually very funny to me. But comedy is subjective. If you find that funny, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just saying that I don't find it funny, so that's not what I'm interested in doing. I'm just explaining where I'm coming from. So I probably would not review Sonichu. Probably not. I'd like to. I'm tempted to, but I don't know what would really be gained if I did. I don't know what would be gained. I think it's fine to make fun of marginalized groups as long as it has a point and discriminate and only make fun of African Americans, so punch everyone. I don't quite understand exactly what you were saying there, sorry. So, in general, I think that this drawing is pretty much complete. This would be a fun one to sort of color or like put in gray tones or something like that, but I think that like tonight I still have quite a bit to do for the next comic tropes, so I think I'm gonna take a break now. I hope it came together okay, and we definitely had some interesting discourse tonight. People kept it pretty friendly, even though I was talking about some pretty serious stuff. So I'm always appreciative that you guys don't like totally lose control. Happy Oktoberfest. Oh, I love Oktoberfest. What's the comic that comes closest to your personal mental, emotional experience at its most extreme? Things that come to mind are like kind of like sad stories like Goodbye Chunky Rice and We Three. Things that are sort of like make me feel lonely. Like at my worst, I feel lonely. So comics that sort of resonate with that loneliness. Let's see. I'll move this a little so that it's sort of framed up. And let's see here. Care Bear asked what tomorrow's prompt is, so I'm just pulling that up. Tomorrow is day 12. Dragon. A couple things come to mind there, like off the bat. I mean, first of all, in terms of dragon, I love kaiju, and I think that they're like, in the horror realm. So if I drew something like King Ghidorah, I think that would be a cool take on dragon. I think that like the main character from the book Red Dragon, the serial killer, which was made into movies, both Manhunter and Red Dragon, he had an elaborate dragon tattoo on his back. That could be like pretty creepy. Ice dragon, yeah. Dragons are cool. But who knows? The Ender Dragon. Yeah, there you go. I just draw a couple blocks, done. I could be like in and out really fast. Ash will be easy now that we know your favorite horror franchise. Yeah, except Samuel, I already did Evil Dead for Enchanted. I drew a Deadite, so I try not to think too far ahead. Dragon from Arrow, yeah. Bruce Lee. There's a lot of things that Dragon could be. Didn't you already draw King Ghidorah? I did for just sort of like a regular live stream. Maybe I could do better this time. It's really hard to figure out what I do. Trogdor the Burninator. The dragon to a supervillain, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. You know what? All I can say is I sort of decide last minute every day because I think that that's sort of the intention of Inktober. You know what I just realized? I really intended to draw a lot more tree branches here, so I'm actually going to take a couple minutes more. I know I acted like I was just about to end things, but now I want to do a little bit more, so bear with me. I'm going to see if this actually adds to the drawing at all, but it's something I feel like doing, so yeah. If I feel like doing it, hey, it's my show. You can't stop me. So I'm drawing some more. Fin Fang Foom. There you go. Yeah, maybe he could be in Shang-Chi. It's a definite possibility at this point. That would be a pretty cool, epic final battle, trying to somehow stop Fin Fang Foom that's been unleashed on the world. I'd also love to see like something like Jormungandr from Thor, or the World Serpent, things like that. That would be cool. You want to see Shang-Chi roundhouse kick a dragon? Well, Fin Fang Foom is really an alien, not a dragon. Yeah, of course, but it doesn't matter. He looks like a dragon, so he's a dragon. Dragons aren't real, so I don't care whether they call him an alien or anything else. He looks like a dragon. That's what's important. I think this looks a little better, adding a bunch of tree branches up here. This is closer to what I had in mind, I think. Lockheed from X-Men, there you go. Charizard. Yeah, of course Charizard is a dragon. Thoughts on the Rogan podcast with the Navy colonel who encountered the UFO? Didn't see it. Don't really generally like Joe Rogan too much. I definitely used to find him funny, but he's sort of become pretty right wing. I feel like he's too political to enjoy. But I also am super skeptical. I've talked about that before. Even if somebody thinks that they encountered a UFO, like I personally don't believe it. Are you only doing horror theme? Not necessarily, but so far I've been challenging myself to stick with that, just because like if you come up with self-imposed limits, it just makes it a little more challenging. So so far that's what I've been doing, but I don't need to stick with that. If I don't have a good idea, I'm not going to just force a horror idea. So I definitely could do something more. Spooky boys. The Mothman is definitely real. Ooh. Every culture has dragon legends, does it? Does like various Native American cultures have dragons? I guess I wasn't aware if that's so. That's interesting. Peruvians don't have a dragon legend. I'd love to visit Machu Picchu. I really want to go to Peru. Firebirds are popular in Native American lore. Yeah. It's not quite dragons, though, is it? Yeah, I think that's pretty good for the day. I think I'll leave it there. Just doing a few details for myself. It's just kind of fun. But I had a good time tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I'm always grateful to have company while I draw, and I love getting interesting questions. Sorry if I don't always have a great answer. Some of that's just, being a little distracted as I try to illustrate or something, and I just can't focus 100% on it. But I definitely appreciate the questions. It makes it more interesting. But yeah, I think that'll do. Dragon Emperor from Mummy 3. I saw that movie on cable like once when I was in a hotel and I was just tired. Oh, I did not care for that. Boy, did that franchise just tank. Wow. Machu Picchu's overrated? I don't know. I want to see it. All right, I'm going to call it there. Thanks for all staying with me. I'm going to end the stream now, and I will be back tomorrow with something for Dragon. And, of course, this Sunday there'll be a new episode of Comic Tropes. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you soon. Until then, keep reading comics. Bye!